It's time for Recipe of the Day. Today is National Poultry Day, and I seem to be in like a comfort food mood lately, and so chicken and dumplings it is. And for this recipe, you can use a store-bought biscuit dough, or I will link in the show notes to a homemade biscuit recipe that you can use if you want to do the homemade version. Now, as to the chicken and dumplings recipe, this version is done in the Instant Pot. I will link to a classic stovetop one, but I really like how this Instant Pot chicken and dumplings turns out. It's really like quick and easy and delicious. So yeah, chicken and dumplings in the Instant Pot is done more quickly and it uses less dishes, and I've simplified things a little bit here and there to get it just right. I think the thing that might surprise you when you're looking at this recipe is that I have you cook the mixture, the chicken with the vegetables and the stock on their own in the Instant Pot, pressure cooking first, and then we add the cream and the biscuit dough at the end using the Instant Pot Sauté function to finish that off. Now, why not put everything in there from the beginning? So it starts with the fact that when you add dairy to the Instant Pot, the pressure can sometimes make it break apart and you end up with like a curdled mess at the end. It just doesn't look good. It's perfectly edible. There's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't look nice. So we tend to add any dairy to the Instant Pot after the pressure cooking is done. So we would add the cream that's in this recipe after the pressure cooking, no problem. Why not add the biscuits before though? So a lot of recipes that I've seen online for this kind of Instant Pot chicken and dumplings do have you add the biscuits before and then pressure cook. And I try that, but then this really weird thing happens. The biscuits have all puffed up and they're like blocking you trying to get the cream into the mixture below and stir it in and mix it and thicken it. And so what a lot of the recipes have you do is use a slotted spoon to remove some of the biscuits from the pot and then pour in the cream. And that ended up being kind of like messy and annoying. And so I thought, you know what, let's just try this. Let's try cooking it without the biscuits. Let's add the cream after and then put the biscuit dough in and see what happens. And it's perfect, easy, not messy, streamlined steps. So that is how we're doing this. I guess I've kind of given away most of the recipe at this point, but I'm still going to walk you through it because there are some steps that I did not talk about. So you're going to start by selecting the Sauté function on your Instant Pot to preheat it. And then when it's hot, you're adding in 3 tablespoons of butter, 3 medium carrots diced, 3 celery stalks diced, 1 medium onion diced, 6 boneless, skinless chicken thighs that you've cut into 1-inch pieces, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and some poultry seasoning, 1 teaspoon of that. You can use the store-bought poultry seasoning, or I will link to my homemade poultry seasoning. It is so good. You cook that using that Sauté function, stirring occasionally until everything is nice and soft, about 5 minutes. Then press the cancel button and then stir in your chicken stock, 2 cups of that. Put the lid on, lock it in place, turn the valve to sealing, and you're hitting the pressure cook button and pressure cooking for just 2 minutes. That might not sound like enough. I mean, you're trying to cook chicken in there, right? But don't forget, we had that chicken cut into 1-inch bite-sized pieces, and you have the time that it takes the pressure cooker to come up to pressure, then the 2 minutes of pressure cooking, and then we'll be doing a quick release, which takes a little bit of time as well. So that chicken is in the heat for a good long time, much more than the 2 minutes you've set it for. Now, while that is heating up and pressure cooking, you're going to get your biscuit dough ready. So my recipe calls for an 8-count package of refrigerated biscuit dough. What you're going to do is break those into their 8 biscuits, but then you want to divide each one in 2 in a specific way. What I want you to do is to divide them in half, but like height-wise, so that you end up with 2 full circles that are thinner than the original circle, not 2 half moons. So you're cutting them in half, but in half that way. You see what I mean? Then you cut each of those circles that you've got into quarters. So if you're following along on the math there, you had 8 biscuits. You cut each one into 2 circles. So you have 16 circles, and then you're cutting each of those into quarters. You're going to have 64 biscuit bites. Then once that pressure cooking is done, the 2 minutes of pressure cooking, you're doing that quick release. Once all the pressure has released, hit cancel, open up your Instant Pot, And then you're pouring in the cream, half a cup of cream with no biscuits in the way, right? You're just pouring that in there, give it a stir, then drop in all those biscuit pieces, 64 of them, right? You're stirring to distribute those, and then cook them, stirring every now and then until they're nice and puffed up and cooked through. It's going to be about 6 to 8 minutes. Then you're going to add your frozen peas, 3/4 of a cup, stir that in. They're going to defrost and heat through immediately, and you serve it. Big spoonfuls of the chicken with vegetables and dumplings in a big bowl, maybe some crusty bread on the side, and you've got a cozy, quick, and easy dinner. Okay, I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is March 19th of 2025. And I want to remind you to make sure that you are subscribed to this podcast so that you get a new episode every day, always inspired about something that you can make that day or in the days ahead. I've got you covered with the perfect idea for the right time of year, day of the week, all of that. The easiest way to subscribe is if you go to your favorite podcast app on your phone and search for Recipe of the Day. You will find me there. Or you can subscribe at cookthestory.com/ROTD. You will see the buttons for like Apple Podcasts and those apps across the top. cookthestory.com/ROTD. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.